Lovely. All right. So we've stated that you must either be a technical applicant or a business applicant. So which one do you think you are? Let's in the comment section, guys. Are you a technical applicant or are you a business applicant? Write that in the comment section before we move on ahead. Okay, Mubarak says he's technical. That's lovely. I think we're going to have a lot of technical people because when I was seeing the introduction, it had a lot of, yeah, I guess as much. We're going to have a lot of technical guys. And the technical guys, you shouldn't have a problem at all. You know, it's sometimes the business people that tend to have issues and all of that, right? So as long as you have things that you have built, okay, lovely. Adekunle says business applicant and founder of a digital-led product. Lovely. You know, so as long as you have, you documented all the things you've worked on and all of that, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Now, let's move on. Now, what are the examples of evidences you need, right? Ude was asking, what is the process? Now, this is where it begins. The process, I like to say that if you want to apply for the Global Talent Visa, for example, you want to make your submission in November, your journey starts now. Like you should start now because when you're reading it on their website, it sounds straightforward until it's time to start putting those evidences together, right? So what are the evidences? What is the process of application? You know, how exactly do you get started? Now, some of the things, and these things can differ. So depending on where you've worked, companies you've worked with, and all those things, maybe what Adekunle will present may not exactly be the same thing Ude will present. It may be different, but I'm going to give you various examples, right? Now, I'll use myself as an example. As an exceptional promise, when I was making my applications and I applied from a business, you know, I applied as a business applicant, right? Some of the things that I had to share, number one was, first of all, you have to write your personal statement, right? So your personal statement, you're going to explain, it's pretty much your story. Please do not outsource your personal statement. It is your story you're telling. So you're telling your story, you're telling them how you got into tech, how you got started, you're blowing your trumpet, things that you've done, right? You're telling them, you know, why you should be giving this endorsement. You're telling them, you know, where you're going to most likely live in the UK and why you've chosen those places, that area to live in, right? That's one, your personal statement. The second thing you need to present, you know, an example will be recommendations, your recommendation letters, right? And that's why I said in the community, if you read through that, you are actually lucky to be in that community. And why am I saying that? Because it's your chance to network, right? Someone like Adekunle, who is a founder of a digital-led product, if his product is out there and doing well, Adekunle can actually write a recommendation letter. This is an expo. I'm giving you an expo. Adekunle can write a recommendation letter for maybe 1 or 2 persons because you don't want to be all over the place doing Father Christmas for everybody, right? So he can write for 1 or 2 persons, letter-headed and all those things, you know, and that's why networking is good, you know, because at the end of the day, you want to get your recommendation, you want to make sure that your recommendation letter is coming from a top executive or a senior executive in that company who can tell or who can say that, oh, I got to know, for example, let me say, oh, I got to know King. So, yeah, when we worked together, we did this, we did that, and all those things, right? So you're going to get your recommendation letter, and it's not 1, it's not 2, you're going to get about 3 recommendation letters, and not just the recommendation letters, you get the CVs of the people writing those recommendation letters for you as well, right? Now, another example of evidence you're going to get is articles that you have written in the past. And guys, these things have to span across 5 years, 3 to 5 years. You have to make sure, right? So you also want to show articles, right? So for example, say Ude now says database administrator developer. Okay, good. You maybe there'll be article, you would have written articles on, for example, how to become a database administrator, how to land a job as a database administrator, you know, maybe if there's a peculiar problem that can be solved in that people are always asking questions on, you can do an entire article on it and then you post. And these articles have to be on top tech blogs in your country or internationally, right? These articles have to be on top tech blogs in your country or internationally, right? There's also your CV that you have to present, of course. And whatever, and I like to say that whatever story you're telling on your personal statement, your CV, even any other thing you're bringing out, everything must align, right? Everything must align. Now, aside that, another evidence that I personally tendered also was I showed proof of work, right? So proof of work in companies that I have worked in, right? So things like sales dashboards showing the numbers that we've done, you know, sales that have been made and all those things, distribution of products. Okay, so for example, if you're saying that, oh, we had say 100,000 customers in about 8 countries. How do you know it's 8 countries? There's got to be a dashboard showing that, right? So you want to show all those numbers, sales, you want to everything, you do the screenshots and then you keep, right? PRDs, business plans, marketing plans, all those things, you put them together. These were part of the things that I submitted as well, right? For the technical guys, I think there is your own will be separate. I think Blaze will talk more on that. I know that you have to submit things like maybe projects you've worked on, all those coding stuff that you guys normally do. You have to submit all those things as well for them to see how much work you've done. If you've collaborated on a project before, you need to also do the screenshots, show all those things, right? So these are some of the evidences that I submitted. So, and that's why I said it can differ, the principles are pretty much the same, but for example, if you're going to work with Mubarak, we need to sit down with him, understand his journey, understand his work, understand what he has available, and then say, okay, we can actually do it this way. We can tell the story this way. We can, route it this way because we pretty much understand how Tech Nation thinks, right? So let me move on from that. So at this point, just before I go into how Traavu can work with you, do we have any questions? Any question, guys, just before we go on ahead? Do we have any questions? For those of us that are shy to speak, I know that part of the evidence that submitted was also proof of speaking engagements and things like that. I had to share, I remember one time I had a speaking engagement in Ghana, and thankfully it was covered. So I had to submit that video and also like prove that the event was actually a very big event, things like that, So there are really different sides to it. Okay, Adekunle, you have your hand up. Please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. And also, I think you will later discount for me for using my name as key point in some things. But that will be for another day. So the question I have is this. From my background, I have worked internationally. For instance, I currently work with a California-based consulting firm. Then I've participated in some projects like all these Andela type of product like that.
Yeah.
So which they just recently integrate fintech. So it's a friend of mine that owns it. But I can't really prove that, okay, this is the money I got from it. But it kind of getting a recommendation from the founder and the co-founder, the CEO, it's not a problem to prove that, since my experience in the consulting aspect couldn't fly. And my experience in the consulting aspect comes from the fact that I more like work with all these startups and some existing business like Marketo and Adobe. So there are some projects I've worked on with them that I was the project manager, because when the contract is awarded to my company, then I will be the one to gather those things for them. But from the question on the group, you said that the consulting aspect cannot fly,
Yes.
but I have a deeper experience of this field. But if, for instance, I know the person that hosts for instance, the company name is Codellen, let's just say that. So they recently raised some funds and moved their team to New York. So I have a direct contact to that. Then my own company, I just incorporated it in Delaware. That was in April or May. So and currently we have just about 600 plus users, because we still, but the MVP, the full MVP is live, but the product can never get to the final base, because it continues to iterate, innovate, and so many other things. So in my own case, what do you think? I know I don't want to dive into exceptional talent, but the promise aspect is what I technically want to look at. But in my own case, like the way I found this company and have my certificate of incorporation here and the rest,
Mhm.
can it count for me, even though I don't have, or I need to show some evidence of revenue, maybe like a bank statement or thereabout?
It can count for you, not necessarily a bank statement, but again, I would like to tell you that everything is in the storytelling, how the story is told. From all you've said, you've actually done a lot, right? You've done a lot of work in the tech space, but we need to find a way. Maybe when we get the full picture, when we sit with you and get the full picture, we will be able to find a way to tell your story, right? But I know that even your consulting work, we'll still find a way to make it count, but we will not call it consulting, because we know that consulting is not exactly going to work. Them hearing consulting will not work. I think Blaze wants to speak. Blaze, okay, you have the floor. Blaze, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Okay, good one. So first thing first is I think that your background will work, right? It's just the way we, like you said, the way we redefine the stories we tell. So for example, if we're going to do it, first redefine the way your profile looks, which is your business profile, your LinkedIn profile, being that your so it's so the challenges a lot of people always have is that, or we have in this is that when this the consulting part of your of the work you've done, let's say the past 10 years, from my experience, from my perspective, hearing you speak, you've probably been in the space for maybe a couple of decades. Right now, the challenge there is that when we're telling the story, or if when people tell their stories, when it's only the consulting part that is rearing its head up, then that becomes that's what they will look at. But then we can tell your story to um, towards looking like a product led or even part of product led. So I give you a simple example. I have the I have an influencer. Let me use the word influencer, a typical sales influencer, for example, social media sales influencer that I know that we got this visa for. Now, typically, what these people do is take up take up products, right, for companies and sell those products. But then, upon when the person was applying, we made sure that. So again, like you said, being that they are in good terms with the owners of these companies, like the friend you have in the US, for example, then it means that the person wrote them into the company as being a staff, not a consultant. right? So that way, instead of the person now sounding like, oh, I'm a consultant for multiple startups in the fintech company, in the fintech space, right? Or in the startup space. I consult for them, I do sales, and I help them try to close sales or help them try to grow their revenue or users. But then he wrote himself into a company, which he knew the owner. And of course, he's been doing the work for them. But of course, again, everything is semantics in terms of, oh, we're going to an agreement, I'm a full staff, or we're going to an agreement, and I'm not a full staff, but I'm a consultant. Everything is just vocabulary and semantics, right? But if he was able to write himself into the company as a full staff, now, as a full staff, that becomes the story he tells or the story he told. Yes, I was in this company between this time and this time as a full staff. I helped them increase their sales. I helped them increase their revenues. I helped them achieve major or significant commercial achievements or milestones. So that immediately puts him as a full staff working in a product-led technology company, not as a consultant working for a product-led technology company. So it is the story, it is the way the profile looks like. And he lives in the UK, he lives in London. So for me, it's the story we tell. So it's all about holistically sitting down and looking at your profile, looking at the strengths, the strongest parts that look like consulting and minimizing it. Or, I mean, so by minimizing, for example, you go to some people's profile and you can see consultant at X company, consultant as or lead consultant in software design, lead conduct. So we just don't need to put the consultant, put lead expert. If you minimize the term consultant and use the term expert, that makes it look a whole lot different entirely. It's a whole different punch of the stories entirely. Now, on the part of your business, the company you incorporated in Delaware. So the truth about that, so depending on how fast you want to run with the company and how much of tractions you want to get between now and when you want to apply, or how much traction you already have, you can still use that company to apply. When you register the company, it doesn't matter because, of course, when a business starts, it's not when the company is registered. Sometimes you probably have done the business or run your, building your wait list or building some things at the back end, all right? Maybe for like 7 or 8 months or even a year before you say, okay, you know what, let me go and incorporate in Delaware. But then, of course, the work is there. There's some work in the background, right? So again, it's not when you register the business that business has started. So if you have some tractions, then that company, so the reason why I'm saying that is that automatically, for example, under innovation, there is a part that speaks to innovation of innovation. So option 1 speaks to innovation, which is proof of product in the market, proof of innovation and product development, proof of traction through revenue. Other evidence you're looking at is financial forecast, audit account statement or profit and loss statement, or even a dashboard that shows some revenue, right? And then, of course, company registration showing that you are one of the owners of the company. So some of these things are things you have inside in innovation. So if you already have that, or you could get that between now and whenever you want to apply, then that becomes a strong foot for you in the door. If you already have some other partnerships across board, things you've signed, for example, MOUs, agreements signed with partners, that is evidence. So under what we call major commercial success or significant commercial success, partnerships are significant commercial success. Under growth, if you sign maybe 5 partnerships, for example, you've led your company to growth. You've grown your company by bringing in partnership deals, right? So again, that will count for you in option 3. So it's all about sitting down. And one thing I always say is, we sit down, we see your business, we see your experience, and then we tell the story. So what you now be doing is, so with that insight that you get from us, you can now say, oh, I know I need this. I know that this person needs to write me into the company as if he's your friend. Of course, you can just say, oh, yeah, gives you an employment contract, even if you were a consultant at the time. But you could say, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, employment contract, but it wouldn't read consulting. It would just read that you were doing XYZ in the company. And then, of course, from there, you can get your pay slip, can get everything else. The only thing, most of the things, called things that, for example, you are going to need pay slip, you're going to need the profit and loss statement, you're going to need all the account statement. So some of these things, maybe you may have them, but it pays that you know and you have this information on hand before you approach towards your application. And I've done this for a lot of people who come to me as consultants and say, oh, Blaze, and I say, yeah, you may have been consulting for some time, but perhaps there's also some product-led part of your experience and your expertise, of your history. So let's tell the story about the product-led part of it. So I don't know if you have another question. I can answer that, but I have to take my time to answer it.
Man, thank you so much, man. This is, I think, you really, the way you explained the whole thing in details was really perfect, and I'm very grateful. So, let me quickly reflect on part of the thing you said.
Yes,
Um, regarding the employment overseas, when you're working, I'm sure you will understand me better in this situation whereby you are in Nigeria, for instance, and you work with these people over there. So you are based, you place on you are called contractor because you
yes,
can't claim a full staff due to the law that bind the employment over
yes, I
there.
get that.
So that is my own situation now on that part. But on the part of me founding the company, currently the traction that I can say we have now is that we built a Chrome extension. Then we have a web version of the product. So on the Chrome
Okay,
extension, if it's been checked, you will see about 600 plus users there.
okay,
So that, I don't know if it counts. Then recently we were awarded. We are currently inducted into Microsoft Founders Hub.
okay,
So I don't know if that counts. Then also I was selected as a delegate for World Bank Youth Summit, but not really
okay,
on technology. It's more of carbon emissions and the rest like that. So
okay.
I'm just trying to tell my story. Like, you are the expert here that will
So,
be able to help me.
so what you have currently works, right? I will count for you, but also know that, frankly, they also will not be enough. Now, part of what we do is, I'll give you a simple example. There was someone I worked with recently who's a senior legal at a fintech company, and she. So we have the mandatory criteria, we have the option one criteria. Option one is innovation. Option two is the proof of it's the work you've done beyond your day-to-day activities. That is the work you've done outside of your normal day-to-day activity. And we have option three, which is impact. Now, I saw that mandatory, yes, good, but I saw that she didn't really have much of number two, right? And so I figured, okay, let's do number one and number three for you. But there was a gap in number one. Now, number one, she has a company. So aside working for a senior legal in a fintech company, global fintech company, she also has a commerce business, right? She sells garments. And maybe she makes about 85 to 100 million per month on selling garments. But then she wasn't doing it the product way. She didn't have a product. So I told her, I said, you've been doing this, but what if you build a product? Already with what you have database of users already. With whatever software you're using to manage your users, you already have that. You have money coming in already, revenue, which you can show me via your statements, bank statements, financial statements. You have that, audit account statements, you have that already. But what you don't have is a product. So take between this time to build a product. Now, build a product. So that was the advice he paid us for. Build a product that will house the sales of garments, your garments, and of course, the garments of other women. So what that means is that now, if it was just a product to sell her own garments, it still will not work because it will be a tech-enabled business, not a product-led technology company. It's a fine line between the two. Sometimes we might get confused, but it's a fine line. Now, while the product was selling her own business, her own garments as a tech enabled, she also offered her infrastructure to other women as product to sell their own garments. Just like Magento, that we all know Magento with the e-commerce platforms. The guys that built Magento offer it as an infrastructure for people to come and use to build their own e-commerce, customize and build their own e-commerce. So like WordPress, for example, people have built different things on WordPress. Different kinds of websites, and they sell it, but then primary core is WordPress. So with that advice, she was able to, she built over time and then started having users on, and with that, she was able to prepare. And eventually when she applied, she got that part of, she got the endorsement. So what we do is understand where the person is, the business, the profile, and then we say, okay, this is what we want you to do. This is the line you want you to do. These are the metrics we need you to from now to start keeping, to start gathering, to go all out for in your business. And eventually, when you have all of these metrics, eventually you can now apply, because it's about being deliberate towards the endorsement. You have to be deliberate about everything you're doing. So I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, you did justice to it. So, well, thank you. I'm actually looking at December anyway. So, but I want to start now. So I don't know if with my current profile, I don't know if it's worth it now, or I still need to build up more.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll get you on a one-on-one session. Let's sit down. Let's itemize your goals and everything else, where you are, and then we can advise on that part of it. If you say you want to apply between now and Christmas, we will look at it holistically, and then I'm always upfront and I'll tell you the truth. If it's feasible, if it's not, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Joy, over to you. If you have more questions, I'm here to answer them.
Yeah, there are more questions. Adika King, can you unmute yourself to ask a question? King, are you there?
Hello.
Okay, yeah, you can ask your question.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Joy and Blaze. So I think in the course of the discussion, Blaze actually talked about some of the things I wanted to ask, so I won't talk about them. But the other part, which is talking about proof of speaking engagement and all that, I've actually spoken to a group of young people, like over 4,000 on 2 different occasions in a church camp, like a Christian organization. And it was on technology, on getting into tech and all that on 2 occasions. And I think I can actually get the proof from them. I don't know if that will count for proof of speaking. That's question number 1.
Okay.
Then question number 2, I'm a software developer. And for quite some time, I've actually been working for different agencies and different organizations. Like I work with the accident, currently the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau under the Ministry of Aviation, not as a staff, but I built some of the applications that they use, even for the recent ICAO audits, but not as a staff, as a contract developer. And I've also, just like the other guy who spoke earlier, last year for 6 months, I worked with an Australian company as a developer, but as a contract developer. So looking at all this, currently I work as a CTO, but on part-time with a prop tech company. So looking at all this experience, is it possible, can I use them, since it's not like I have one particular this thing. I also have a startup too, which is a WordPress website as a service platform, and we have about 200 users on it. So I don't know how this can count, or if this is something that can count for me,
Okay.
considering the
Okay, so for your first question, in terms of thank you. In your first question, in terms of speaking engagement. So let me define now the speaking engagement that they request for. First things first, they want a speaking engagement related to the tech field, right? So it is now for you to answer if that was a tech industry related speaking engagement. If that is a no, then it will not count. Now, the second thing is that there's a term that they use. They use it all the time in the guide. The term is continuous and ongoing. Having a continuous and ongoing. So if they talk about speaking engagement, they use the term. If you talk about panelist speaking, they use the term. If you talk about code repo or contributions to open source code, open source projects or commits on GitHub or GitLab or Gitbucket or the likes of Stack Overflow, your commitment to those communities, those tech communities that write code. They always use that term, consistent, continuous, and ongoing contribution. So with that term, for everyone I've worked with or I've worked for to get them this endorsement, the minimum I accept as evidence is 3 pages, is 3 evidence. So if I'm working with you, for example, that is what I recommend. I will want you to get me at least 3 speaking engagements because it has never failed, right? 3, that's one. If we're looking at panel events, I'm also saying we need to get 3. Now, reason why I always emphasize on that is that sometimes they give you, if you look at the guide, you will see where they say maximum number of pages, 3 pages. So in a situation whereby I have to present 3 examples, I'm just going to put them on one page each, just for example. There are those who have more than that, and I still find a way to make it work. But 3 is the minimum that I feel should work for every example. So speaking engagement, 1 will not be enough. You have to show at least a minimum of 3. That's the first thing. Now, if you build code or build products for agencies, the challenge there is that you're not working for them as a full stack. That's always the flag, right? So it means that you're working for them as a contractor or what do you call it? A consultant or something. So again, that means that, I mean, remember you are submitting your employment contract. You're going to submit your employment contract and they're going to read it. And if the employment contract is reading contractor or is reading consulting, that becomes a flag, right? So if you're building this with your own personal company, right, then it means that you have a service company that you're using or a consulting company which you're using to build this. That again will not fly. So what I always say for a lot of people is that, for example, I have people that come to me and they run, let's say they build websites for people, they build software for people. And so what I tell them is you can productivize your company to not look like a consulting company or a service company, but look like a product-led tech company. I'll give you a simple example. If you build products, you build software, you most definitely know about what's the name? Team something.
SaaS.
I'm going to remember. Where you get teams. Team World. Is it Team World or something? Help me remember.
Teams.
Is that team? Sorry?
Team Forest.
Team Forest.
Yes, Team Forest. Thank you, Team Forest.
Okay,
Good.
Team Forest.
Now, Team Forest. The people who build softwares, those teams will buy on Team Forest to build their own things, right? So you see someone, he has built one team, but now that one team, he now has multi-purpose. The same team, you can use it for education, you can use it for non-profit, you can use it for business, you can use it for it gives you like 20 to 25 different things you can use it for. That guy typically is still a consulting business, just that he has built a simple team that you can use for different things. And he puts it on a website and he tells you to go and pay him monthly fee. Do you understand now? Typically, the consulting business is you come, you consult to us, you tell us the kind of website you want, we'll build it for you. You come, you consult, we'll build it for you. It's not different from what the other guy is doing. He has built one team, right? But then maybe he added some extra code to make it look different 20 times. And then he puts it on his website, and he tells you to download it and pay him monthly. Now he's not lifting a finger. He's told you if you download it, you can use it for education, you can use it for non-profit, you can use it for this, for 20 different things. And he puts a subscription there. Come and pay me on a monthly basis. That makes it a product-led tech company and not a consulting company. That is the difference. So for everybody I work with, I tell them, if you're a service company, if you build website for people, you need to find a way to modernize your business. You probably will have made some revenue already. So the revenue part will not be a problem. You probably will have made some, what do I call it? Your bank statement will be ironclad, right? Because there'll be money inside. So that part will also be a problem. But then you need to fine-tune the product, right? Don't make your platform look like, oh, it's a consulting business. Productivize it. Let it be a product. A single product with multi-purpose usages. And once that is there, that becomes your platform becomes a product-led, and you change the semantics and the vocabulary that is on the platform. You are selling a single product that people can take and then use it to build whatever it is they're building. Right? It's the same thing, for example, people who are offering APIs today. The typical way it used to be before is to build all of those things multiple times. Oh, I have let's say I have what do you call it? An LMS platform. I build LMS platforms. For every client, you are building a new LMS platform. For every client, that is consulting. But today, I have a product, I have API. I have built it, just come and plug into it and customize and pay me a premium every month. That becomes a product-led tech company. That is a fine line between the two. So if that is how you have been running, then you can find a way to I think you said you already have 200 users. You need to find a way to remodel your business, right, from now. And you can see that will start counting for you. Go on.
Okay, so on that, the startup that has 200 users, what we do is actually what you have just explained. We offer website as a service. We have templates, so you just go there, sign up, select your templates, it generates a site for you on a subdomain, then you link your domain to it. So it's not that we build it again.
Like Wix, right?
Yes, like Wix, just like Wix and Shopify. That's the way it operates. The other one is outside the startup. I work as a developer for these agencies and also as a contract developer for a startup in Australia, in Brisbane, Australia, though as contract staff. So I don't know if there is a way I can bring this with the startup, bring them together to have a solid application.
Okay. So for the one where you have now, your best bet is your company. If it is as Wix, if it is like Shopify, then you have a product-led tech company.
Yes.
Which will easily win you innovation. That is which is option one. Because automatically you're going to have financial forecast, you can get that. What do you call it? Revenue, you can get that, which is maybe a P&L statement or audit account statement, you can get that. Company registration, if your name is registered as one of the company owners, then you already have one evidence. Then you show number of your users, international or local distribution of your users. You show channel numbers, right? And you give yourself an employment contract. If you do that, you have option one. We have the 3 in option 1. Then next thing you now need to consider is option 3, which is also not going to be hard, because what you did in option 3, which is impact, is to show the impact of what you have done for your business. If you want revenue for your business, if you want major contracts for your business or partnerships, if you've shipped product versions for your business, that is impact for your business. If you can show somewhere now, one thing I want to emphasize here is on March, when Technician said they were going to close or shut down in March 31st. Let me tell you what happened. What happened was that they got the highest number of applications or applicants. They got over 850. And they did not endorse about 70% of that number. Yes, they did endorse, but that is the highest. Normally they beg people to apply for these visas because people don't know, and because it's typically hard for people to get it, right? But what happened was they got the highest number, and of course, also with that number came with evidence of people who were also submitting doctor documents. It became too obvious. So guess what they started doing? They started mandating people to show third-party evidence. You might show the most perfect evidence, but if you don't show third-party evidence, they will question. They will tell you, "Oh, we've seen all of this is fantastic, but we need more." That's what they will say. But we need more information to be able to endorse this criteria. That's what they say. So that more information, or they will say, "Oh, we need third-party information." That third-party means that they want to verify what you have said. Oh, for example, if at the time your business hit 200 users, you could have done a press release. X platform, as of today, has 200 users. Find if it's TechNest or some small tech blog in Nigeria, let them publish it. That is your evidence. So every significant milestone. So what this thing has taught me over time is that every significant milestone we have as a tech business owner or a tech founder or even a tech professional, we are supposed to be putting it somewhere, not on our personal blog. Personal blog is okay, but on some other platform that is a third-party platform. Because this are things they look at.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Blaze. Sorry to interrupt you. Like my product, for instance, we have a Chrome. Are you familiar with Chrome extensions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So we have a Chrome extension version and we have a web version. On the Chrome, it's showing we have about 600 plus users there on the Chrome. So does that serve as a third party evidence, or we need something more beyond that? Because we don't own the platform, it's owned by Google.
Yes. So your app is a Chrome extension, right? And so it's just like what do I call it? Play Store, for example. On Play Store, you have 10,000 users or 10,000 downloads of your app. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Good. Now, that 10,000 in that information there was not generated by you.
Yes.
It wasn't generated by you. You didn't do. If it was on your website, it's different. It's on Play Store. It is the actual count based on people who have downloaded it, based on the report from Google.
Yes.
So that is third-party information. That's not from you.
Oh,
great. If I see it on your website, oh, we have 10,000 downloads, it's one thing. But if I go to Play Store and I can confirm that it's 10,000 downloads that is there, then that becomes a third-party information, which is valid.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So as I was explaining to the other guy, so these are things you need to look at. So I feel that your full focus should be on your company, which is the product-led tech company, the one that offers the website like Wix. So all of this evidence I've mentioned, right, are things that you need to sit down and start putting them in place, because that becomes your strongest foot to apply because it's easier. If you are an employee of the company, some of these things will be very hard for you. But if you are the owner of the company, it means as an owner of the company, you can lay claim to financial forecast, because you can just generate your financial forecast. You can go and put your bank statement, but you can't give your employee the company bank statement to use as evidence. You cannot do that. But if you're the CEO, that all the better. You go and pull your company registration. Your name is there. That is also evidence. So everything as a CEO, as the owner of the business, every single evidence can attribute it to you, and that becomes your strongest foot. If tomorrow the other company is it in Germany or is it Berlin? If the company makes you a full staff, if the company makes you a full staff, fine, but it's something you cannot control. But what you can control is the company that you own. You can do anything you want with it. You can claim it. So long your milestones keep increasing, you can gather all the evidences you want on that company alone. But remember that there's also third-party evidence. You need to make sure that those third-party evidence exist. So when you hit 200 users, for example, you should have done that. For example, now our product that we already have our product that we are launching. Already we have over 600 assessments taken. It will be one of the questions we're going to do. If we hit 1,000 assessments, we'll do our product assessment, this hits 1,000 assessment. If we hit 5,000 users, we'll go and announce it. Those are the things that people want to see, that we know that those things eventually count for you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. More questions, please. I'm excited about this question. So, Joy.
Okay, Mr. Blaze, thank you very much. Will it be safe if I call you Dr. Blaze? Because you sound more like a philosopher.
I mean, someone has called me that before. I think for
Yeah,
me, it's all
great,
about
great.
the fact that I mean, I've done this for a lot of people, and also my background, I've been in tech. I've been in tech for over 15 years, and I've built
Oh,
different things. And not only for
thanks.
me, I've been in product tech all the while. So it makes me understand
The
this
dragons.
visa, yeah, the jargons and what you really need to do, because I've been there right from the earlier times of where boys were like were building Flutterwave, when they didn't even know what they wanted to build. We see them
Yeah.
then wearing half shoe and wearing full clothes, all of us day gather day, and all that stuff. So we've not been there. We may not
I
be
like
as rich
that.
as they are or as popular as they are, but we've been there. We paid our due. We understand, and we saw some of these stories, and we also grew into the ecosystem.
Okay. Oh,
So it's why
nice,
I
nice.
understand all of these things.
Wow, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you, doctor. So I'm giving you that.
No
So
problem. I mean,
I have a
yeah, go
question,
on,
one more question,
go on,
please.
please.
Um, regarding my company now, currently, um, we have a bank account which open through all these Mercury banks that do startups that are incorporated in Delaware.
In the
But
US, right?
there is no yes, but there is no
I have a
actual
Mercury Bank
fund.
too. I know. Go on.
There is no fund there now. So
Okay.
does he still? But I have I have a dollar account that at least can prove um, some figures that I've earned. So, but can I replace? Because since I don't want to, the users are there on the Chrome stores, but the revenue aspect, we have not been able
Okay.
to start generating revenue because of some, I don't know, you can't control, there's some traction we can't control. So we
I
give free,
understand.
we make it freemium to some extent. So that people can get to use it more, then now try to reduce the freemium aspect of
Okay.
it. But is a paid platform, so between $3 to $10 anyway. But currently now we have not generated revenue from it. So
Okay.
how could I probably find a way around that to
Okay.
bypass the submitting bank
Okay.
statement?
So one thing that I've learned is even when they say revenue, for example, even venture funding also counts as revenue. I've had people that, I mean, if you think about it, I've had people that have probably not made a penny, or maybe they've just raised $1 million, for example, right? I've had people that are bleeding money. Bleeding money, you see their bank statement, their, what do you call it, their sheet, bank sheet, it's red. There's no revenue. They are bleeding money steady, but there are transactions coming and going. Maybe they have some investment, maybe it's a $3 million investment, right? But no revenue yet. That can count. Once you show that investment sheet, that counts as money coming into the company. So it's not just when users are paying, right? If there is a huge investment from some source or from somewhere, and it says, oh yes, X company raised X amount of money, that becomes something that you can also use. And of course, usually most of this information might be on Deal Room, might be on Crunchbase, might be on PitchBook, right? Because of course, or can be on Google, for example. They can always go and confirm that, oh yeah, okay, we've seen this, oh yeah, they raised this amount of money. After that, nobody wants to know if you're making revenue, if you're making profit, if it's recurrent revenue. Do you understand my point now?
Yes, very well, doctor. But here is the challenge.
Yes.
The company, we just launched the product, I think 30 days ago, but we have been building it for months now. But here's the thing. I personally bootstrapped company up to this stage, and now we are looking for our seed funding. So we have not gotten feedbacks from some investors, some accelerators, and VC we have picked, but we are still expecting. But the situation now is that I'm trying to just expand my global reach in terms of having an access to UKs and the rest, and also with that build some contact and get some investors as well through personal relationships, and while I'm doing the other one as well. But how do I? But Microsoft startup program gave us about almost 50,000 technology tools credits. So which include all their Dynamics, Office, ChatGPTs, and email, a couple of those things. So I have the email for that, which can prove that. So I don't know if that can, but we have not raised a physical cash or save.
Okay. So that can be put under significant commercial milestone achieved. It can work for you in option 3. Yes, it can work for you in option 3. So anything around those parts, yes, that can work for you in option 3, because yes, it's something that has come to the company. It's of profits, right? But it's not actual money. So we can't replace that for where they've asked you for revenue. So they call it proof of traction. So you see the term is proof of traction through revenue. And like I always tell anyone, I never try to assume and say, oh, this something else can work for it. It says revenue, right? Even so, there's even I've argued somewhere. There was someone. So these guys are not perfect. They're human. Someone have told me these assessors, they're not perfect. They're human beings, right? There was an appeal I wrote for someone where they told they refused to endorse the person for option 1 because they said the person has not made profit. Has not made profit. That's what the assessor said. And in the appeal, I wrote that in no place does the technician guide talk about making a profit. What the guide talks about is generating revenue, not profit. They are two different things. Generating revenue. So if this assessor has decided to fail this guy because they talked about because of making profit, it means the assessor was in error, because you cannot see anywhere in guideline that says you must be making a profit. It says generating revenue. They are two different things, and the person got it overturned. So what am I saying is, it says in plain terms revenue. So what I can say is, we're hoping. Let's hope that between now and maybe when you eventually want to apply, some of these things you expect to come true. If a check comes true, and so I wanted $100,000, even if the money never come in, even if it's just the term sheet that comes in the signed agreement, you can use it as evidence of revenue. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. And sorry, I'm sorry for taking your time. I don't mean to really take
No
the platform
problem.
from the people. So there was an accelerator program I was meant to go for last month. So they sent, before completing the application, they sent an agreement which shows that they are ready to put in the 100,000. So though they advised they advised us to apply for the winter intake, but there is a kind of agreement that I signed that carries $100,000 for 6% equity like that. So can that count, even though it
Yes,
doesn't really materialize?
I think that's that. I think what they call it is a term sheet. Is a
Okay.
term sheet. I think
We
it's a
they
term sheet.
verify
So
from we they have to verify from that company by calling them?
usually they don't. Usually they don't. So what I always say is that when they do try to verify is when they look at an application and they start feeling, okay, this application is a bit fishy or a bit dodgy. And normally, when people raise that kind of money, sometimes we will announce, sometimes it's undisclosed. They say, oh, we raised $1 million from we raised some money from maybe X Capital or Ventures platform, but it's undisclosed. Some people don't disclose, right? But if you have that term sheet signed, I mean, I've had people that what we use for the revenue is about maybe they have like 3 or 4 term sheets. So just took screenshots of the term sheets and we put it there. That shows, oh yes, some money has come in. They want to see that some money has come into the company, that this product has traction and somebody was willing to pay for it, or someone was willing to put their money to back it. That's what they want to see. So if you have that, that can work. You can match that with your what do you call it? With the 50,000 credits. Because
Let me not
normally,
take other people's time. So what I'll do is that I will go for I want to start now. So and hopefully after this call, after this meeting, there will be probably the travel representative will tell us the people that are ready probably to go into another group, and then we can now
okay,
start.
yes, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Bliss. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Joy, can we have the next question?
Yes, Ifeanyi, I think Dan has dropped off. So Ifeanyi, are you there?
Okay, yeah, I'm here. Hi, I think Dr. Blaze.
Hi,
Thank you
Fine.
for your answers and so far. Okay, so I have about 14 years experience in IT, software developer. But I can see from some of the things that I've heard and I've heard from today and I've seen from about Technician that in terms of articles, for instance, I would say I think I just have one article relating to, when I was learning in Python, where I wrote an article on how to learn Python from looking at it from the point of developer from the point of a .NET developer. I don't have some of these big things that you guys are mentioning that someone needs to have, to be able to apply for this stuff. So with my experience and just assuming that some of these criteria, I don't have them, what are the things that you advise me to do to prepare myself for this? In terms of things I need to have, to be able to package my, if it comes to getting referrals, I think from some big guys in the industry, people I've worked with. I've worked across insurance, software companies, and I've worked for different companies. I think I can get that referrals, but I think other things. What would you advise me to do to prepare myself for this?
Okay. First, if I look at your GitHub, which one do you use, GitHub or GitLab?
GitHub.
Okay. So if I look at your GitHub, how healthy is it? How many projects will I see on it?
Very good question. So my GitHub is not very healthy. And this is due to the fact that for some of the companies I used to work for in the past, we're not using Git. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, the other companies I've worked for were using more of Bitbucket, and it was tied to their own, hosted in their own server.
So they were internal. Okay.
Exactly. So you will not see some of those things. They just have some of the projects I have done, that I put on GitHub. Some things I've done here and there, yes, they're on GitHub, but you will not say it's healthy and like that because it's not the primary stuff that I use. Yeah.
Okay. So I've tried writing an appeal for someone. So I have someone who came to me for an appeal. They applied. They work for one of the banks.
Okay.
And I mean, this person probably earns over £100,000. And he applied on his own, he didn't get it. So he comes with me with the appeal. And one of the things that they flagged, they said for someone so he has over about 18 years or so in the space.
Okay.
But then one of the things they flagged was his digital footprint.
Okay.
They said if you are who you say you are and you have been in this space for 18 years, nearly 2 decades, the articles that we read on the internet about you should be more in depth than what we saw.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons they said. And when I read it, I said, well, I mean, it was more like my hands were tied on the appeal because they were right.
Okay.
Because if you have been in the industry, like you rightly said, you have only one article, which was when you were learning Python. I mean, even if you were publishing, say, one article every quarter for the past 5 years, you know how many articles you have.
Yeah, I understand.
Exactly. And that is one of the things they look out for. So let me tell you, so in recent times, third-party information has become very strong because they now found out that people have been using Photoshop to do a lot of things.
Okay.
Right? They'll tell you, maybe they see a letter from some senior industry experts. They'll tell you, oh, this letter, the guy spoke about you, amazing. But then we could not verify whatever it is he was saying.
Okay.
So they do that. Then you can tell your story, but they will go. So you typically, so I tell you something. One of my last client, she came to me after now. Normally, I never advise anybody to go and pay. So because when you pay, how you apply is when you first go to the Home Office website, you pay the amount you paid, the £456. Then they give you a code after you've paid, and you take your code to the Technician website, and then you register, you put the code there, and it opens. The website opens, and then it tells you to upload your documents.
Okay.
So the person had paid for that, and then came to me for my services. Now, what that meant was that we had only 15 days, because once you make that payment, the portal has 15 days for you to upload all your evidence. After that, if you don't upload and submit, it will shut down. You have to make payment again.
Okay.
So the person came to me. So that means we have 15 days to walk around the person's documents, prepare document, do everything he did and all that before the person went to submit. But guess what? When the person submitted on Tuesday. On Wednesday evening, the person got the endorsement. Do you know why?
Why?
Normally, it will take you 20 to 28 days. They'll tell you they will get back to you in 28 days, typically. Then maybe if you're lucky, maybe it will be 2 weeks, or it could be more than 28 days. But the person came the next day, because the moment the person had applied, has gone to put the code and the portal opened, they have started Googling the person. It means the person's profile has started counting on their system.
Oh, okay.
Immediately they went and started Googling the person and started documenting. So as soon as the person submitted evidence, and everything, all the evidence that they had already on the person was in tandem with what the person submitted, there was no need to waste time. The person's endorsement came the next day. That is like the fastest one I've had. I've had another one too, like that, but that was like maybe like 2 years ago. That was like fastest in recent time. Because I told the person, make sure you put third-party evidence on everything that you have in this your folder.
Okay.
So in essence, if you want to apply, you need to start looking at, for example, now the key things that we look at here is, say, for example, speaking engagements, being panelist discussions, open source contributions, contribution to the growth of the industry, right? If there is a tech initiative happening, for example, in industry, and it's pro bono, you can be part of it. Those guys will be the people that will write for you tomorrow.
Okay.
Then you need to sit down and start building. So that's why I always say, I don't know when you want to apply, but you will need to start building that digital footprint.
Okay.
Those articles about you, being interviews, and being an expert of over 14, 15 years, there is a lot of things that people are dying to know about.
Yeah,
Those
that's true. That's true.
Becomes your article. It's just some money you're going to spend on some platforms in Nigeria to interview you or to write about you. But those things become key. I have one of my current clients, he's been publishing. When the person paid us was about 4 months ago. At the time the person paid us about 4 months ago, right? The person had started writing articles at that time, right? But at that time, those articles were still new. 4 months after, now the articles are 4 months old.
Yeah.
Maybe by December, if we add another 4 months, now that becomes 8 months. Already, the articles already are 8 months old, and that is okay.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, you have to start now to see how you can build a digital footprint. It could be things written about you, and also just know that anything that is going out, the things on Substack, Medium, LinkedIn, they don't count.
They don't count?
They don't count. It has to be typical.
Wow.
tech news platforms, no matter how small.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hope I answered your question. I mean, so
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
we have a group of those who, I mean, we mentioned we have a group of those who are going to go on the journey. So we'll provide more support over time between now and when whenever it is the person wants to apply, and then So I mean, but if you have any question, of course, shoot, I can answer that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Joy, more questions? Any?
Yeah, Mubarak had his hands up, but he has a question in the comment section saying, does screenshots of private repo commit count?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Then Dan, are you there? Do you still have your hands up?
Yes, I have a couple of questions because I want to good evening everyone. I want to use the opportunity to see how my experience matches with the Tech Promise visa. So what I want to do is to explain my situation and see if this counts in terms of the confidence level of this working out. So I studied computer science. I'm a software developer, software engineer, and web developer. Years ago, I first started as a music producer and sound engineer, and up to date, I still nurture my music production career, and I'm glad that I have a couple of projects, so I'm reaching over 500,000 streams in some platforms. Then after a couple of years, I now moved into the tech field, which is in software development. I first started developing websites on PHP websites for customers as a freelancer. Then from there, I was moving, and I have a couple of certifications on LinkedIn, some certifications there. Then aside that, I now got an internship as a senior web developer for an Eastern European company. I was overseeing various um, um, technical staff from front end, back end, AI, and the rest. And even when the Ukrainian war started, the company higher ups, the management staff had to go offline. So I was the one following up, and the company was successful, and they even moved on to selling the company and moved on from there. So I have a reference letter from the company which I have worked remotely with in the Eastern Europe. Then currently in my portfolio, I built an e-commerce store which comes with an automatic currency changer. So whichever location you're from, it gives you the right currency. So it's currently running and it's still running. I'm the web developer and I have a contract for that. So I still from time to time manage and update the platform. And in retrospect, I started as freelance, then I now created a sole proprietorship. Although I've not had a company account just based on freelance, but nevertheless, I have all this experience, and of recent, I got some certifications on building AI projects for some AI hackathons, and I think up to 2 or 3. So my question is this: with all this in hand, although things are moving well, I'm trying to see if with all this shared, do I stand a chance in getting the tech talent visa as a promise? Do I stand a chance? Although I don't have, I don't really, I'm not sure I have some publications or articles on in the tech space, but I'll try. Now I've heard about it, I'll try and work towards it. But so far, do I stand a chance for the December 2023 tech talent visa?
Okay, thank you. You shared a lot, and I appreciate this. Yes, you have that background. One thing I want to point out is that there's a reason why I always say that the LinkedIn, your CV, and your LinkedIn are very key to your application. The reason why they are key is because the assessor is going to go to your profile and look at it. Now, if you decide, for example, to apply for exceptional promise, which is the potential leader, what is required is that you have a minimum number of 3 years in tech. So if the assessor goes and checks and sees that you have over 5 years of tech experience and you apply for promise, they could fail the person because of that, because that's against the rules. So it's why your profile is very important. Your LinkedIn profile, your CV, the CV you submit is very important to the process. So if you have over 5 years of experience, it is not advisable that you apply for promise, which is the potential leader. Over 5 years is for those who 5 years and over who fall under exceptional talent and should apply as such. Now, in your own case, you have a bunch of experiences, you build a bunch of stuff. So you may not have digital footprints. And like I always say, there is no day, as of today, if you start pushing out your digital footprint by December, that's September, October, November, December, it'll be over 3 months. It'll be about 3 months, right? January, there'll be 4 months. So if you start today, start this week, start next week, you would have, by then you'll have amassed a lot of the footprints that could count for you. Now, in mandatory criteria and in optional criteria too, you will see digital footprint in mandatory, you will see optional criteria too. So you see that if you have a strong digital footprint, that means out of 10 evidence, you already have 2. That remains 8. Say, for example, I Google your name and I can see, let's say I see 7 articles about you, or 8, or let's say I see 10 about you, for example, on the internet. You could take 5 of them and put in mandatory, and take 5 of them and the next 5 and put in option 2. Those 2 gives you what? 2 evidence out of 10 in the criteria section. That is the strength of digital footprint. So I think with what you've shared, it's all about sitting down to understand what you have. Now, like I always say, what do you have? What do you not have? And then you begin now. If you say you want to apply by December, it means you have to begin now to start plugging those holes and start doing those things you need to do deliberately. If you have people in the industry, it's right now to start reaching out to them. Say, hey, guy, I'm going to come to you towards November. I'm going to need a letter from you. I hope you can give it to me at that point in time. And you start prepping them now towards it. So there's no time to start but now. If you start now, start once you know the things. So it's all about knowing the actual things you don't have and the things you don't have. And one of the things we'll be doing in this group sessions will be personalized sessions where we'll sit down and say, okay, fine, what do you have? Everything you have, we'll document it.
Liz, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. So everything you have, we will document them. Say, oh, you have this, and this goes for this. You have this, and this goes for this, and you have that, this goes for this. Now, when they've asked for this, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this. Now, these are things you need to start working towards. Like I always say, for most of us who got this visa, some of us we've probably done a bunch of things, and our evidence and everything were just here and there. It was upon the time we sat down to say, okay, we want to apply. But that's why we now had to sit down to start gathering evidence. Oh, this is here. Oh, wow, this is here. Oh, I have to go back here to get this. And then we were able to see everything. I was like, oh, we've worked. Trust me, if you've been in this space building 4 years, 3 years is a lot. You probably would have done a lot of things that you don't know that you have done. It's all about documentation. What we don't have is documentation. So the process, how we get people is to sit down to understand your processes, understand what you've done, understand what you built, and then we start documenting those things. And then those you don't have, we'll say, okay, this is what you don't have, and then you need to get this, and then you need to get that. So, and then with that, you can now see how that December becomes very feasible. Let me be frank with you. I'm always very frank with people. And I had a client who paid us premium, and he says, Blaze, this was 2021, I think January, December, January or so. He says, Blaze, I must submit in February. I must submit in February. And by July that year, he hadn't still submitted. You know why? Because it's one thing to say, oh, Blaze, I must submit in February, but it's another thing to actually see the actual evidence and then work towards. It's a lot of work. The question is, when you are presented, when my team presents all of this evidence for you and says, this is what you need to do, then, it's all about, okay, do you have that strength to now push towards doing it? I give you my own personal story. When I wanted to apply, I saw I didn't have some evidences. Not that I didn't have them, but I didn't have them documented. It took me some time to start documenting and start keeping them towards my application. So it's a process. You understand? So I hope I really answered your question.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thanks so much. I'll start seeing how I can be documenting what I don't have or what I have in general, and work towards making everything compound and professional.
Okay. Do we have other questions, please?
Okay, Dr. Blaze, I'm sorry for the interruption again. Sorry, something quickly sparked a reaction from me. Regarding your services, do you just for me, I love seeing myself as I don't know anything about this, but you as the consultant will be able to put me through. Part of the consultant service, do you help us edit the personal statement or write it for us? Or how does it work?
Okay.
And I hope you are charging us in naira, because we are Nigerians, so we have not become big boy like you guys.
Okay, so let me tell you. Let me break down what we do. So it all depends on what part of our services a person wants, how the extent of the services that they also want as well. So we bundle it. We can also break it apart and then have people pay whatever it is they want to pay as part of what they want. Now, one of those services is the advanced. I call it advanced because we have one product that does that for you, can automate that process. But then we also have the advanced one where we'll sit down with you one-on-one. That's personal, like one-on-one, and we build your document roadmap. What does that mean? Now think about what is expected of you is 15 evidence. That's what you're going to submit. When you go to Technician and you open that portal, you've made payment to the home office, you take your UTRN, you go to the home office, the Technician platform, you fill that UTRN, you fill your information, and the website opens for you to upload. What you'll be uploading is 14 evidence. That's what you're going to upload. Okay? 14 evidence. Sorry, is it 15 evidence? That's what you're going to upload. Now, what is the breakdown? You have your personal statement. You have your 3 letters of recommendation. That makes it how many now? That makes it 4. And you have your CV. That makes it 5. Then the other 10 comes from the criteria, which is mandatory, option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. Now, mandatory criteria, the rule is that you must pick mandatory and any of the options. Now, we have 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4. You must pick mandatory and any of the 4 options. So the rule is you pick mandatory and maybe option 1 and option 3, and you validate. By validating, I mean you provide evidence. Option 1 criteria has about 10 criterions. Mandatory has about 10 criterions. Option 1 has about 6. Option 2 has about 6 again. Option 3 has about 4 or 5, 4 about 4. And option 4, academic research, has about 6. For most of us, academic research might not work for us. So I can leave that out and say, okay, option 1, 2, 3. 1, innovation. 2 is the work beyond the day-to-day activities. And 3 is impact. So the rule is we go to mandatory, we gather 4 evidence out of 10. We pick 4 where you have the strongest leg. Maybe if you pick option 1 and 3, we go to option 1, we pick 3 evidence, we go to option 3, pick 3 evidence, and we validate. By validating means bringing the evidence for it. Now, what do we do? When we have that calculation, we work with you to develop your evidence roadmap, meaning that we are saying for this option, mandatory criteria, this is what you validate for 1, 2, 3, 4. For each of them, for the first one we are validating, bring this document, bring this document, bring this document. For the next one, this document, so we are calling the name of the document and we are documenting it, we are writing it down so that you know. So for every single option, every single criteria that you have chosen, you will have the detailed names or items of documents you need to provide. That is what we call the discovery and roadmap development. That's a service. That's one. Then beyond that, we also now have where we support you with the personal statement. So we have our drafts that we've written, call them example documents. We have example documents for the reference letters, the letter from employers, the personal statements, the letters of recommendation. So when I say letter of reference and letter of recommendation, they are almost 2 different things. They sound alike, but the bodies are different. The content sometimes are different. Okay, so what we provide with you is support to develop all of these things. By support, we mean that we're going to give you example documents. Okay, this is an example. This is how it seems like. It's your personal story, but this is an example documents for all of these single documents you need. Read them, give us drafts. And then when you give us drafts, we can now reform your draft and keep reforming it. And if there's any information you need or we need, it's okay, we need this information. Can you provide it or can you add it here and here? So provide you that document advisory, document development support, and of course, example documents until it's all perfected. Then beyond that, we look at your profile, the profile of your endorsers. Now, there's a rule that people who work in consulting companies, outsourcing companies, web service companies, what else? I think there's one more. Those 3 cannot endorse you. And even they are not eligible to apply. So you give us a list of people who you feel are the term senior industry experts, and we'll go and vet them. We'll vet them and we'll tell you those who meet and those who don't meet the criteria. That's also a service we also render. So put all of these things together, that becomes a full-fledged service that we will render. But then, of course, for individuals, people will we make it flexible for you to choose what you want from us. And then, of course, you pay based on what you feel you want us to do for you. So that is what we do. But yes.
Doctor, thank you so much. You, God, I don't know how to thank you. You made a whole lot of complex process to be easy, and trust me, this thing you just did for free. I know how it works, but I'm grateful for this. But this is exceptional. Trust me, because some people charge for all this information you are giving us free of charge. Thank you so much, Dr. Bliss. Thank you. So hopefully I will request for a personal discount maybe after the meeting. So
No problem.
because I want to start now. So I'm targeting to get everything all sorted out by November, December. Get my visa by December. So I need to start now. So please.
Okay, no problem. My team will be in touch. We'll reach out to you and we'll sit down and have that conversation.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Do we have another question?
I don't think so. I don't think we have any other questions.
Yes, I have a question. Sorry.
Please go on.
Are we going to sleep tonight?
Thank you so
let's
much
take more questions. Please go on.
For the enlightenment section. Gained a lot, like the previous person actually said. You have really demystified the whole process. So I really appreciate you. So what I want to know is that on my own case, I've heard about this for like maybe 2 years, and somehow I've been trying to. I know you answered one of the questions where you asked that because from what I look at right now, I think that I can get the promise, but I might not be able to get the talent. But the obvious truth is that I'm like I've done above 5 years.
Okay.
Yes, and I've done above 5 years. So essentially, there's a way I can actually beat it down to like 5 years on the dot, or maybe say 4.8 or something. you know, so that it should be around that amount. So, but if, for example, I'm trying to now push for talent, things like the media stuff that you just mentioned, is it like I'm going to be posting on a blog maybe every now and then, just like from what the man said that he wants to get his own visa by December? What's the chances of getting a visa if I start posting now? Of course, I had a program where I trained 1,500 ladies last year for free as a way to, I'm trying to like carve my niche that, you know, so I trained 1,500 ladies on tech. You understand? So this year I'm training 4,000 ladies. Of course, they are on newspaper, it's everywhere. And I'm going to do this year. So it's going to be like, oh, I've been doing this program for quite some time. As something I've done outside my regular day-to-day. And I worked with product-led companies. I think when during the COVID time, I built a mobile app for, I'm a mobile app developer. I built a mobile app for loan, this loan collection mobile app. You know, before it started becoming very popular, you know, I was one of the first ones back then, you know, so, and, you know, it has traction. I don't have the GitHub because, you know, since I'm no longer working with them, I don't have the GitHub account. So, but I was able to get the email they sent me, and I still have the employment letter. You understand? So now, and there's two things that I want to know is that from this, do I still qualify? Do I still qualify to get it at the end of December or between now and December? That's one. Then number two, how do I get the media presence that you talked about? You know, can I start posting now? And maybe that time I would have gotten a lot of, I think I've done one post already, just one post. You know, but can I post more? That's about it. Number three, there's something they mentioned called, what's it called now? Something reward or award or something. I don't know what that actually is. I don't know if I go and meet somebody to give me an award or something.
No, let me explain that. Sorry, I think I've forgotten your first one. I know the second one is about posting. The first one, what was the first one again, Joy? Can you help me with that?
So I think I mentioned the fact that is it possible for me to still get the visa based on what I just mentioned right now?
I'm always very frank with like I always say, when I want to solve a problem, right? Or when a person wants to solve a problem, the first thing is to identify the gaps, the deep-rooted issues. And it is upon seeing that deep-rooted issues, right, that you want to solve for, that is when you can now put a time as to when you can finish solving that problem. Now, to relate it to what we're saying, I understand a lot of people are putting December dates. Yes, true. But you see, it is actually when you actually see, for example, we go on a discovery session, and then you see every single thing you need to do. Meaning that we're saying in mandatory criteria, out of 10 criterions, we pick 10, we pick 4. And the first one, I'm telling you that the first one, in this first one, you must bring this document, this document, this second document. In this second evidence, you must bring this, and this. In this one, you must bring this and this. And we would name every single thing. It is when you see that you can say, oh, okay, but this December now is looking likely, or perhaps it's not looking likely. Now, to answer that question, I can't really say because it's only when we sit down on that discovery, I'll see everything. And it won't be me answering the question. It will now be you saying, oh, okay, man, this thing is looking like it, or it's not looking like it. But what I always say is there's no day to start other than today, in fact, even yesterday. Because it is when if you have started today, for example, and you see, you are on this call now, you've heard a lot of things. So I believe that always also gives you perspective on some things you probably had done, but you didn't document, or things you need to document, or things you actually need to do to at least have that December date actionable. So I think you've done the right thing by being on this call first, which gives you perspective. The second thing is, in terms of those publications, so what I usually do is, I used to be a media person before. I used to be in the news before, so I have people that I can call and say, oh, I need a publication, or I know someone that needs a publication, reach out to, and then I can give you their contact, and you can find out whatever their fee is, right? And they can help you push out your content. So they have more like all these press wires, for example, news wires, for example, They have contacts around the ecosystem, other people who have their news platforms or workers at maybe different tech blogs and all that, maybe Tech Point, TechNest, and Tech, whatever, Tech Economy and all that stuff. And they can say, oh, this is how much we charge to help you publish these items. So if you have some items, maybe you decide you want to do like maybe 5, 6, 7, or 8 or thereabout. They can say, okay, this is how much it's going to charge. This is how much this platform is going to charge. They give you that breakdown. And if when you have come up with your content, and I want to say deep content, not just anyhow article, deep content that really shows your experience, your expertise, and things you built in mobile app development. It has to be in depth. When you have that and you ship it to them, they'll push it out. If by time December you already have, maybe you have up to 10, for example, I'm just saying 10, even if you have 7, it's still going to count for you. But I'm just saying those things will work for you. That is for the second one. Joy, can you remember me the third question, please? I think I've forgotten that.
Remind you what?
The third question.
About the award.
Oh, yes, awards. Thank you very much. Now, I work with a lot of people, and if it's award, anything that has to do with award, I avoid it. I'll tell you why. Because they know that people go to pay for awards. Yes, they know people go to pay for awards. And as such, I always try to prevent a situation whereby a client pays me to do their work or to guide them. And then the assessors would say, oh, we've seen the award, but we do not think that this award is notable. I've seen it before. Because at that point, it's at the assessor's whim and caprice to say, oh, I don't think I know this. Also note that people we are dealing with are probably people who have never left the UK before. You need to understand who your assessor is, who you are dealing with. A typical Brit, for example, who's working in London or some part in the UK that has never left the UK before. So if you are bringing maybe a Nigeria Tech Award, for example, you tell you what's the Nigeria Tech Award. Sorry, we don't think it's notable award. And there's nothing you can do about it because it is left at their decision to say what is notable and what is not. So awards are things I don't go close to. I just tell people awards I don't close unless it's something that okay, maybe it's something that I know this guy will know. So and also because people also go and pay for awards. Sadly, since this visa came out, there are people who go and pay for awards. They do some form of award. They do they call it a Global Talent Award or something. They call it so many funny names, and they pay for it. And it's a service people are offering other people to go and pay for awards. And these guys, they know about these things. So I don't think it's something that you will want to play with. I hope I answered that question. But I think if you want to do it, go ahead, and if you want to apply by December, that's what I mean. If you want to apply by December, I think you sit down and do a checklist, which is one part of things that this group is going to eventually become into. Put people in a group where we'll help you do a checklist, help you identify the gaps you have and things you have, and work with you towards actualizing that date that you want to actualize.
Okay, Dr. Bliss, sorry for the interruption again. I would like to ask some question relating to that award. First, there was a time a popular professor posted me. I funded some student that wanted to attend this class. Then he published my picture, wrote some things about me that thank you for funding the futures and the rest. So can that count for me? A lot of people, government people read his platform very well. If you are on LinkedIn, I'm sure you will know Professor Ndubuisi Ekwekwe. So yes, Tekidia, yes, he's my mentor. So he posted me, wrote things, thanks for funding the future. They even sent it to me on a private message. I don't know if that counts. Two, recently around February, I was inducted to Harvard Business Review as an advisory council member. So the email is available. But I don't know if that also counts. Three, I have a certificate from World Bank that shows delegate certificate by World Bank Youth Summit. I don't know if that also counts.
Okay, so the last two will count for you because
Which
the World Bank Youth Summit, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
The World Bank Youth Summit was merit, right? You didn't pay for it.
Yes.
Wasn't it? It was merit. So it's going to count for you somewhere. Attending the World Bank Youth Summit is going to count for you somewhere. Yes. The Harvard Business Review part of it as well is going to count for you as well somewhere. But you see the first one you had me at funded. At that term funded, that's what cancels it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes. So I hope I answered your question.
Very well, thank you.
All right, thank you. Joy, do we have questions we need to turn down? So let me know if we don't have any questions. I know we can go on and go on, and I can go on and go on anyway. So, but we need to turn down. So, Joy, do we still have any question?
None, no question for now. So I think that's about it.
Okay, so what next? We have people who want to get in, who have a date. What are our plans for them? How can we help them to achieve their goals for December and beyond that?
Yeah, so I'm going to send an email to everybody that has signed up for this class, giving you the options available. And so, you just reply the email, let us know what it is, and then we'll take it off from there. It's as simple as that. Ajasa has his hand up. Nemeth is asking, does leading team on IT project executions count?
On this question, leading teams on IT project executions. Now, the question is leading them as what? Are you a full staff? That's the first question. If the answer is yes, good. Put it on one side. Now, leading them as a full staff in a full technical or business staff in a product-led tech company. If it is in a product-led tech company, then it counts. If it is not, then it doesn't count. Now, the other thing is leading teams to execute a project. So if you think about it, the term when you're executing a project, let me use the term matter. There are matter that you create matter. But that means that I want to host a project. I want to do a project right now. It's a product we want to build. The moment we start discussing that product, right? We have started creating matter. We go on the meeting time, we already matter. We're creating something for information. We're creating data. We go on the meeting, we are using maybe Jamboard or sticky notes on a board. Those sticky notes we're brainstorming. That is already a brainstorming session. Everything you have for that brainstorming session is already evidence. You do research, you perform some user research, some needs-based research. That result, even the questionnaire itself, everything else that leads to that is also information you can use to provide, you can use to apply. You've done all that, you start doing your prototyping, you are ideating, you are building your wireframes. All of those things are things you can use to apply because already you are ready. So everything just think about going on a technical project or a technology project. If you Google the term 7 steps of new product development, just Google it. 7 steps of new product development. Everything from step 1 to step 7. Everything from step 1 to step 7. If you do anything you create from step 1, every document, every process that you've created from step 1 to step 7, when leading a team of such are things you can use to apply. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, Ajasa, you can ask your question now.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I've been following the discussion for more than close to 2 hours now. But the discussion has been around the experienced people in this field. But what about the new entrants, like less than or more than between 1 and 3 years into the tech space? And in my own case now, the training I have so far, it's like when you are in a team, and most of these people, they don't always release their data sets into GitHub.
Okay.
So how do you use that one to count for one person. Like me now, like I've developed a web app, that's the is commercialized, or is based on commercial purpose or ready to be deployed. In that case, you can't claim ownership.
I agree.
But you lead it a team. Do you understand? Like we have our 3 projects like that, and individual team based and individual ones. I have several ones that they are not on GitHub. So what do you advise in that regard?
Okay. First thing first. For things that are not on GitHub, projects you have been doing, you are part of, but they are not on GitHub. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it, right? But then it's about being deliberate now. By being deliberate, it means you have to go out of your way to find people or organizations that are building projects and are readily documenting on GitHub. And that becomes one of the first things you're going to ask them for. Oh, these projects, are they going to be documented on GitHub? I'll give you a simple example now. Before now, people will go on speaking engagements. And when they are done on speaking engagements, they call you, oh, come and speak for an event. You go. When you are done, you just go home and that's it. But now, people who attend my sessions, they now know that when someone calls you for a speaking engagement, the first thing, even if they use your mouth to tell you, you tell them, please send me a letter. Have the company send me a written invitation letter telling me that, oh, we want you to come and speak about XYZ, 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 about this and that. That based on who you are, a professional in this, it makes it official. Someone chatting you and say, oh, come and speak at an event. There's no more courtesy. They have to send you an official letter because that becomes your evidence. And when you are done with a speaking engagement, you ask them for your pictures. Please send me my pictures. Please send me my videos. Because I came here to give you guys value. The least you can do is to send me this content. It is you being deliberate. When you're done, they owe you a thank you email. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. A, for being part of this project, for coming to deliver this insight. Those things become the evidence you will give the endorsing body tomorrow. Are you a part of the process? Going there without nothing to show for, no more counts. Now, to bring it back to this, it means that you have to go out there deliberately looking for pro bono work you need to, because in the end, that is option 2, which is the work you have done beyond your day-to-day activities. They want to see activity on your GitHub. It doesn't have to be with companies you're working with inside that they're paying you, but some free work that you've done for people that they didn't pay you for. And they want to see all of those things over. They want to see a history. So that's what they say, continuous and ongoing contribution. Continuous and ongoing means that you'll be working with different people. Any project, jump on it. But one criteria you now have to put is, oh, are you guys documenting this on GitHub? You say yes, thank you very much, then you can take it. That means that, is it a public repo? If they say yes, oh, good. That's why if you go to option 2, there's a place you will see contribution to open source projects. If it's open source and it's not private information, it means that it will be open for everybody to see. It means that your commits will also be public. It means the code you write will also be public. That becomes something you have to ask for first. Is this open source? Yes. Is the project open? Yes. Are you guys going to be putting this on GitHub? Yes. Oh, wonderful. You jump on it. They may not pay you, but that becomes something you reference tomorrow. Now, the other thing, I think, what was the second thing you mentioned? Can you remember the second thing you mentioned?
Those deployments that the model deployments app sold out, but in this case you don't own it.
Yes,
you're just part of the team, and
the question I have is, are you a full staff in the company? Yes, are you a full staff in the company?
No.
You're not a full staff in the company. What are
what I do? I just transit to tech, so I'm doing my the training with Explore AI, and the training and the data sets is not open to the public.
Okay.
Do you understand? But within the cohort, at least I led 3 teams, individual projects and all that, but don't allow us
to. So is Explore AI a non-profit?
Public.
Explore AI is a non-profit?
They're in South Africa. It's not non-profit. At least they are for profits.
They are for profit. Okay, good. So
It's a
if they are
company
for
in
profit,
South Africa.
good. So you may not have the code, right? Now remember that one of the things they ask for is code repos, commit, and all that stuff. But then again,
I have all the code. I have the code.
Good.
I have
So
the
if you have it, all you need is, or if you have it, all you need is screenshots, right? To show if they are not everywhere, anywhere on the public, but you can show screenshots. You can provide this endorsing body with your screenshots. If you have a what do you call it, some internet communication showing the work process. Oh, do this, do that. Oh, have you shipped this? All of those things show that. So let me say something here. So they understand that people work in teams, right? They understand that people, in a software, someone can build the front end, someone can build the back end, someone can build something else. A bunch of team are working on one thing, but you being able to show what you yourself did is what makes it different. So when you're able to show those codes and you can later it with conversations, maybe it could be Slack or whatever medium you guys are using. Oh, have you done this? Have you built this? Okay, I've shipped this. Oh, okay, congrats, nice one, good job. All those things become the conversation that shows that this is what you are doing. It may be easier if the code was public, but if not, but you have those emails, you can create a thread of it. That shows that there's someone somewhere giving you a directive and you were executing those directives. And the code that you are showing, that you're showing them is the directive that you have completed. Does that make sense? Hello?
Ajasa, are you there?
So I've answered that question. I hope he's satisfied. Do you have anyone?
Yes,
Any
sir.
other one?
I'm here.
Okay. I hope I answered it correctly. I hope you're satisfied. Yes.
Then which category can I fall into now?
How many years have you been
because
in? If I look on your LinkedIn,
in attempt.
Go on.
Yes, sir. But I want to add to this. In an attempt to just 3 years. I'm just coming
3
up.
years.
So
if you, that
like,
will be
by the end of this year, I will end my data science management own business.
Good. So you still have time. You still have time. You are still you fall under the promise. So you still have a lot of time to to get your structures right and get your documentation. So yes, you fall under promise. Joy, do you have any other question?
Right. Adetola has.
Thank you.
I think this would be the last question, guys. So that
okay.
Okay, thank you.
So Adetola, after Adetola, Talabi will go next. So Adetola, please ask your question.
I've seen this question. It says deploying and implementing a ERP business application and automation application. Yes. What's the question there, please?
Oh, okay. So I think they were the ones that asked. They were the one that asked them, does leading team on IT project executions count? And they asked something about were they leading the team and said yes, deploying and implementing ERP business application and automation application.
Okay, so answer that question then.
Talabi, please ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I work in a fintech as a sales executive, and I don't know if you have touched anything around sales this evening. How would a salesperson demonstrate his talent or his or her talent in regards to showing his achievements and evidences for this purpose?
Good. So as a salesperson, there are metrics that you're required, right? If you're in fintech, for example, your metrics could be on a lot of things. It could be help us build X number of users, right? Help us sell app downloads. Help us get users to use our apps. Maybe monthly also give monthly, so get us 5,000 users on the platform. get us 10,000 app downloads, for example. Help us generate push for revenue. Let's see how many sales you're able to get at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter. So as a salesperson, it's easy because there are metrics tied to your job. There are numbers tied to your job.
Okay, yes,
So,
I understand that, but am I going to submit, say, award letters or purchase orders by my customers as evidence?
So good. What you submit. So usually, every of the process you create or you finalize has a report as a salesperson. You probably will be using one software or the other. Let me give you a simple example. If you're a salesperson in Google, you'll be using what they call Cockpit. You'll be using Cockpit, for example, which has all the deals you've started and all the deals you've closed and those that has expired or didn't close. You will have a dashboard that shows growth over time. The other one is maybe you are using a CRM software, for example, like HubSpot, where you can show the deals closed, the deals started, deals closed, deals completed, etc.
Okay, so do I do a screenshot of the CRM?
Yes. Every single software you're using as a salesperson that has a metric, that is what you can use to show. Now, if you are selling app downloads, for example, if that's what you're selling, and you help the company grow their apps, for example, you can take a screenshot from the apps and say, oh, I joined this company in January, and they had maybe 2 app downloads. By April, I helped them get 5,000 downloads. That's a screenshot. Get it. So if it is app downloads across all the multi-platforms, iOS, Play Store, that is your metric. If it is that you are helping them overall on the platform, Google Analytics will also work. And you know, Google Analytics has an in-depth segmentation. Are you following now?
I'm following, but
Good.
if I may just add to what you have said.
Please.
So my own sales is not basically app download. So okay, let me just let the cat out of the bag. I work with one of the biggest fintechs in Nigeria, and we have different products. We have products that allow you. We have a card business. We have a transaction processing business. We have we sell servers, we sell POSs, we do SMS. So there are lots of products that we have that generate a lot of metrics for me. But like I said, I just want to know how to put it together.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you present your report, if you were called on a quarterly meeting, to present your report, your achievement for that quarter.
Yes, monthly performance review, yes.
Good. Every single metric you will have on your presentation, if it's a 10-page presentation, every single metric you want to report. Remember that these metrics are coming from different places, right?
Yes.
If it is volume of transactions, if it is POSs, they all come from different places, right?
Yes.
Those individual places where those things come from are the screenshots you're going to get.
Okay.
As evidence.
Okay. But can I also attach the award letters? Maybe I would take off the signed, I will block out the signed, the signatures on those documents.
What award is that?
Award letter. So typically what we do is for companies to commit to a particular product or service, we will ask them to send us an award letter, which is stating that they are willing to buy it at a particular price with terms and conditions.
That's more like an agreement.
Yes.
So that agreement that you get, that you sign with them, more like a partnership agreement or a commitment agreement, will go for you under what we call major commercial success.
Okay.
Which is option 3. Okay. Major commercial success can form, it's not money, but it's a commitment to say we're committed to these guys, we want to do this, yes?
Yes.
So every single partnership agreement that is signed falls under significant major commercial success. That is option 3.
Okay.
Good. So when you have those things, screenshots, so usually those things are maybe up sometimes 12 pages, 15 pages, 20 pages. All you just need is for every single agreement, you just need maybe the page 1, page 2, and the last page, which has a signature. Screenshot, and last page, which has screenshot, the signature. Right?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. You said I just need the first page or the middle page.
Yes, for every one of them, you just need like 3 pages. You don't need all the pages.
Okay.
You just need a few, one the first page and the last page, which is the signature, or just the page that shows the company name, the details about whatever is about, and the signature. That's what you need.
All right.
For every one of them. So that forms part of your option 3. Then the metric part of it, for every single metric you report, every single screenshot from its source where the metadata is becomes your evidence.
Okay.
So I think you are a good candidate. How long have you been in the company?
I've been in the company for 4 years now, but I've also done sales for about 2 years in another company.
Okay, so good. I think that you have what it takes. You just need your proper guidance to get there. Are you also looking to apply for December? Because everybody is saying they want to apply by December. So I'm just wondering what's happening.
I'm thinking 2024.
Okay, so let's work with you. Yeah, so let's work with you. So let's work with you. If you have us, let's work with you. My team will be in touch. Let's sit down. Let's put you on a program, and let's work with you to get there. I mean, if you're in the fintech, it's straight up. What do I call it? It's straight up because it's numbers you are dealing with. It's metric, and once you have it, you have that evidence. And of course, if you are one of the biggest fintech, which I think I know what it is, then it means that of course you will have those digital footprints. Because if you say, oh, I led this, there will be an announcement on the internet that says, oh, these people launched this product or hit this metric on the internet. Of course, you already have the evidence. You just point to where it is on the internet. Say, oh, yeah, let me do that work. Oh, see, I'm here. See the evidence there. Does that make sense?
So that makes sense, but so we changed the announcement style recently. So it's just major business to business deals that are announced.
Regardless, we're still going to see. So for me, it's all about once you've done the work, once you've done the metric, there's no how we're not going to find something third-party information for you on the internet there to back up what you have said. Do you understand my point now?
Yes.
And so, like I always tell everybody, companies reach major milestones, but of course, you will never see, the only person you're probably going to see is maybe the person who's allowed to give the statement.
Yes. Which is
either
marketing or the MD.
Yes, but it doesn't mean, because there are probably a ton of people who have done the work. So somebody in there will say, oh, let me do this work, see evidence, but yes, of course, we all know, say our name know the day inside normally. So it's just what it is. Do you get my point?
All right.
So sorry, what's your name again?
Adegoke.
Okay, Adegoke. So my team, okay, Tarabi. So my team will be in touch after this meeting. Let's see how we can work with you towards achieving that endorsement for next year.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. Joy, over to you.
Okay. Adetola, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I have. Thank you very much. I think I was trying to talk the other time. Probably I wasn't loud enough. I believe you can hear me now.
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doctor, for everything so far. And I'll just quickly highlight my profile, so to see how I can come in for this talent visa. I work with a manufacturing pharmaceutical company, and I'm the IT manager for the company, and I've been working with them for over close to 5 years now. I lead a team of the IT, which we've handled different IT projects, including business applications, sales applications, and the likes. So I would just like to know if this experience and probably other experiences I have around IT and leverage media opportunity of this application.
Okay. Do you mind telling me your full name?
Okay. Adetola Anyolaja.
Adetola
Anyolaja.
Okay.
Anyolaja. Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to search for you on LinkedIn, and
Okay, that's
I think
fine.
this is you. Software network engineer, SQL, Oral DB, CCNA, etc.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. I see. So you're NIMET. Okay, I see where you are. 3 years, IT manager, database system, full stack developer, HIIT PLC. So the first question is NIMET International Pharmaceuticals. Would you say it is a product-led technology company? Or will you say it has a bunch of products as a cool? Let's say it's health tech, right?
Yeah, it's healthcare.
Yes, it's health tech, but healthcare, but there are health technology products, right? That it offers
Exactly.
to. Oh yes, I can see you
Offers
have a
to.
bunch of. I can see you have a bunch of products, healthcare
Yeah.
products, veterinary products, ethical products.
Yeah.
So yes,
Exactly.
I'm trying to see. Do you have digital products?
Okay, when you say digital products like software applications, right?
Yes, software applications. Yes.
Well, we don't have digital products which we use for customers. We only have our own software applications which we use to run businesses.
Okay. So so for me, it's always trying to understand if it is a tech-enabled business. So and if it's a product-led technology company. So for example, let me explain. I don't know if you were on the call when I was explaining this.
Yes, on the call for
Okay. So I may want to take time to look at it, but off the top of my head, I'm saying if it is a company, a health company that has say it has an interface or a structure that allows it to sell its own products, right? That is one
yeah,
thing, which is a tech-enabled company. But then
okay,
if it has an infrastructure that allows it to sell its own product, but it also offers that infrastructure to other companies, maybe for those companies to manage the sales of their own products,
okay,
then that becomes a product-led technology company.
okay.
So again, the question is, which is it? Does it have that software which it gives others to manage? Because what you are is a highly technical person, perhaps maybe in not a product-led technology company. So it's maybe you explain that to me. So if there is an infrastructure that other maybe pharmaceuticals leverage to manage their own product selling, for example, then that puts us where we need to be.
Okay, basically the aspect I'll bring this in the product-led company is it still boils down to the company because on the website we have a section where like distributors and the likes can use to make their own sales using like a store locator. So just like a store locator where distributors of based on their relationship and based on their level with the company. So that's how they are being qualified to
Oh
be
yes, I
a
think I've seen
platform.
it.
So that is
Yeah,
that is
I'm looking at it.
okay.
Store locator. Okay, store locator. So how do they get on this part? Do they fill a form? Do they come and register? How do they do that?
Yeah, we do like customer performance evaluation. So based on their performance and if you look at what they've done, their relationship and the likes, that's what we use to put them on a basis of platinum, let's say a diamond partner, like a customer level and the likes. So that's how we used to
Okay.
bring
So
them.
do they pay to be on the platform?
Well, they don't pay to be on the platform. It's just based on performance. We do that based on performance, not a paid platform.
Okay, because the Star Locator does look like an infrastructure which they are using, your infrastructure which they are using to for presence, right?
Exactly. Yes.
It's just like the Google whatever, where Google allows people to place their office addresses so you can find them on the map and all that stuff,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So the Google is dev itself is the SSNG, which is the product, then has those store locators. So your platform can also be that, just that I'm trying to tie it to revenue to say, okay, these guys are here because they are paying X amount of money to be here because you're making money from it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. So it's just to find a way. Okay, maybe there is some performance metric somewhere that can be tied to money to say, okay, maybe it's the number of sales. Oh, this guy sold X amount of the X amount of whatever, and hence that is why they are here. And so if you tie that to that, and then we'll tie this to the store locator, that makes it a product-led technology company.
Yeah. That sounds nice. Yes. That sounds nice.
So I hope I answered your question. I answered your question, yes?
Yes. So I just want to know if that experience is enough, and looking at other application, other aspects too.
Okay. So like I always say, one experience sometimes is not just enough. It's just all about one experience and other ones you probably had, and then picking out which one fits what you're trying to do, right? And that's what we do. What we're trying to do by having a WhatsApp group where we'll guide everyone who has the time to say, okay, between this and this, I want to do this, achieve this, and be there, right? And it starts now because first you need to know what you don't have. And how do you get it? I give you a simple example. I have someone who reached out and said, oh, Mr. Blaze, I'm trying to get one job. This is the job. This is what I'm like, okay, yeah. I know you're in the UK. I know you have to pay your bills, right? If you have to take the job, you take it. But if you want my recommendation, I'm saying, okay, if it's not a product-led technology company that is asking you to come and work for them, it is a horse racing company. A horse racing company, if they don't have products, then it's just typically a horse racing company. So I know you have to pay your bills, so you have to take the job. But if you see a different one, which is a product-led technology company, I would advise you to take that if you are doing that towards getting your visa, right? Moving from your skilled work visa to a global talent visa. You have to be deliberate about it. So it's about knowing what you don't have, know where all the gaps are, and then working towards closing all those gaps, which is why we are creating this program. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. We can do this all night. Trust me, I'm a talker. I give a lot of presentations, so I won't get tired of talking. But of course, I know we're all tired and we all have to go. So we'll do this. I don't know how often my team wants to do this, but we'll keep doing this. We'll have you in the same group. So beyond now, there'll be next text communicated via email, and then we'll take it from there. Joy, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been very interesting, and you'd agree with me, insightful as well. Just like I said earlier, an email will be sent to everyone where we will tell you straight up the services we offer and the costs so that everybody's on the same page, and you decide if it's something that you want to go ahead on with. Earlier, Blaze had mentioned that even if you're not able to maybe afford our premium service, you can actually select what part of the process you want us to be involved in with you, right? So all of that will be sent to you via email, and we look forward to welcoming you to Global Talent Fold as soon as possible. All right, so thank you, everyone, and have a lovely night. Good night.
Thank you. Oh, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Alaye Alpha.